back to the Real Kiz Podcast. Today I have another super special guest with me, Genevieve from Australia. She is a frequency artist, an urban kids teacher, and energy healer. She has been teaching and weaving her dance and spiritual paths together for the last 10 years, and she's been dancing since age of 3. Her message on and off the dance floor is that we are all one, and becoming a conscious co-creator is how we can remember our essence. And I approve that message.
Yay, approved.
So thank you so much for being here with me today, Genevieve. I am super excited to have you and to talk about all things energy and nervous system regulation. And I got the idea for this podcast when I saw you were talking about some of the things that affect the dancer's nervous system at an event. And I was like, wow, this is so true. I haven't really thought about it that way. But as dancers, we are subjected to so many things, both on and off the dance floor, but especially at an event, we have so many things coming at us and our nervous system can get very dysregulated. So I really wanted to bring you on and to talk about how dancers can be aware of their nervous system and how they can heal and regulate it.
Yay, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited to to chat to you about this.
Well, let's dive in. And my first question for you is, what is energy? How would you define it?
Wow, it's such a little first question. One way to think about it, to make it a little bit less abstract, is to just think we have different components of our body. So we have our physical body. If you were going to go to the gym every day and you wanted to build a six-pack, that's in your physical body. And then we have our emotional body. And if you want to connect more deeply with that, maybe you would be doing some somatic work or some dancing. And then we have our energetic body, which is just outside of our physical body. But it's just another part of us. It's not visible to the naked eye, so we kind of forget about this part of ourselves. But it's our vibrational field, and we all have one. Everything has one. Trees, plants, animals, humans. And we feel this even if we're not aware that that's what we're feeling. Sometimes you have a weird moment in your life and you don't know why, but your hair stands on end, or you get goosebumps, or you just feel this like deep knowing, or you feel like a rush go through your body or something. This is something you're experiencing through your energetic field, and then it's communicating through your physical body. So it's always there. We are just kind of vibrating energy all the time. It's just we can't see it with our naked eye. So that's why it feels a bit out of touch sometimes.
I think some people also refer to it as vibes.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we can also feel each other's energy. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like everyone, the same with the gym example. Some people choose to go and train their physical body all the time and they build that muscle. You can also build your energetic muscle. You can become a lot more perceptive, a lot more intuitive, a lot more specific. You can know what you're feeling. But everybody, yes, has this innate capacity to feel themselves and each other. But a lot of people, for lots of different reasons, suppress that tool, or they suppress that part of themselves. So that's why a lot of the time it feels a bit abstract to some people, or a bit like, oh no, that's not really me, or that's or whatever. But we all can. We just maybe don't get to practice as much for different reasons.
That's really interesting. How did you get into this work, and how did you come to learn so much about this?
So, kind of funny story. I never really got into it in a way. I think I was born into it. It's in my family. So since I'm a child, I've been very in touch with the invisible realm, if you want to talk about it like that. And I've had a lot of training from different mentors and guides since I was very, very small. So for me, it's just my normal life. I didn't really get into it as an adult. But I did start blending it with dance a lot more when I started Kizomba. So that was when I was like 22. I started to really link the two together. Yeah.
So it's never too late to start becoming aware of it and to get into it.
Never, ever, ever too late. Never, ever too late. No. And it's like more, I feel like it's just like a remembering process because we all naturally like that. So it's not like you will discover something that's separate to yourself. You will just remember it, and then you will just remember it more and more and more until it's like, oh yeah, of course, it's normal.
Okay, that's very good to know. Thank you. So what about dancing that really connected energy healing to Kizomba for you? Like what factors affect dancers' energy and vibration and nervous system that kind of like put the two together for you?
I was ridiculously lucky, I would say, about where I started learning Kizomba. I was living in Colombia at the time in South America, and I had the most amazing teacher. She's not super well known, so you probably wouldn't have heard of her, but her name is Mariluz, and she's amazing. She was from the beginning blending the two universes, so energy and Kizomba. So I just thought that that was Kizomba because it was my first experience. She was my teacher. So she would teach us to hug everyone and like send this unconditional love into the heart of the person as a basis of the dance. And then like kind of meditation exercises about connecting with yourself and your breath and then your partner. And then so for me, the whole dance was like very spiritual. So I didn't realize until like years and years later that other people don't learn like that they learn Kizomba in like a different way. I was a bit shocked to find out about that. But it's so like naturally complementary to meditate and to feel the energy of your partner and to like co-regulate your system through this dance.
Wow. Yeah, it's so beautiful that you immediately started with the two together. And you're right, like the Kizomba hug, the Kizomba embrace is famous for that calming and, bringing the energies of two people together and co-regulating, like you said. And it can be very healing. And that is why a lot of people are so in love with this dance, is because of that physical, but also energetic connection that gives them life and gives them energy and gives them that nourishment that they need.
Yeah. I do remember as well when I first started Kizomba, I was so uncomfortable about touching people or hugging people. I had so much fear in my own body about the closeness. So I definitely would never have continued to do this dance if I did not learn from that one woman, and if I did not learn like from the beginning in this safe way and about the breath and the respect and the care. And if that was not my path, I definitely would have been out like immediately. So it's really important.
Yeah, I love that you said respect and care, because it is necessary that both people bring the respect and care into the embrace and into the connection. Because if one person does not, if their energy or vibes are off and not pure and well-intentioned, then I feel like the other person can immediately feel that. Can we talk more about that?
Yeah.
When that energy gets tainted and when we get dysregulated and our energy and nervous system gets thrown off during the dance.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. As I said, I got like very lucky in my beginning journey of Kizomba. So when I started to have these negative experiences, I had already developed a good system inside myself, but that made it even more shocking because it's like, I really feel like it's like a conversation. Imagine that you're having a conversation with someone and they are just completely ignoring you and they're on their phone while you're trying to speak to them. This is like a horrible feeling. And in that moment, in that conversation, you have a couple of choices. Either you're going to leave because you're like, well, this person is ignoring me, or you are going to fight to get their attention and you're going to try to get them to talk to you, or you're going to do something by yourself. You're going to talk to somebody else or you'll have a conversation by yourself. But those are your three options when the connection option is taken away, and none of those are nice. And all of those things, like you said, we feel them in our nervous system, like in a dance connection. If you're there, and especially in the role of the follower, you're so open and receptive and vulnerable. And if you feel this energy from the other person, either cold, being disconnected, being dismissive, or being invasive or being too sexual. Like there's many different ways this connection can get tainted. Your body will react. And like I've done all the different reactions. I've done the like, hey, please talk to me reaction, which is like when your body is like fighting. So you fight to stay in a dance. I've done the option, which is like, I guess I'm by myself. So then you just end up dancing by yourself, even though it's a couple dance, which is really weird. Or of course, the other option, which is like exiting the connection, like saying, okay, thank you, and stopping. So this is just some examples of what happens inside the couple dance when the connection element is taken away and how our body responds in dysregulation.
So it is like the fight, flight, freeze response of the nervous system.
Yeah, totally.
I've definitely experienced all three. I think most people have. And maybe they just are not aware that they have, but I'm sure they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's something I experimented with a lot because for me, dancing is always a mirror of life, and boundaries and things has also been like a big issue for me in my life in general. So I was trying to explore this inside the dance as well. And I was really seeing you can have tools to create regulation for yourself and your nervous system in these situations, which is great, and we could talk about that. But sometimes that scenario is really just a signal for you to take your body somewhere else. Like if something is happening in the dance that's causing you to be in fight, flight, or freeze, oftentimes the best solution for yourself is to just take your body literally out of that situation.
Yeah. And even before we get into the dance, sometimes even before we get to the embrace, our nervous system can already be dysregulated. Can we talk about some of those factors that can dysregulate us right off the bat and how that can affect the dance connection? And then, of course, with the right partner, we are able to co-regulate and calm down in the dance and the embrace. But as a dancer, there are so many things just being at a dance event and at a social that can dysregulate our energy and our nervous system.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And it's, I feel like for this is quite an individual thing, like depending on how you are as a person, if you're more extroverted, introverted, how you are as a being, you'll be impacted differently. But, some really basic things is like the way that you are approached and the way that you are asked to dance. If somebody comes and they ask you in like a very sweet way and polite and manners, and they make it clear that they're like asking you to dance and their energy is clearly respectful and caretaking, and then they walk you onto the dance floor through the people, they already taking care of you. This is amazing for our nervous system because we're like, oh, okay, this person is going to take care of me, versus maybe someone who comes and like randomly grabs your arm or like gives you like a weird like a nod or something. Like it's not really clear what they want. This is already dysregulating for us, especially as follows. We need the clarity created by the invitation. That's one thing. The other thing is definitely the lines, like the cues, waiting for artists. This is just mayhem. So isn't that like top marketing strategy or something for like if they're releasing a new iPhone to have the cues out the door? People are camping there with their tents and it's like a buzz and they're stressed.
Just waiting for their turn.
Exactly. So like this in a social dance environment, you can't relax. I have stood in a line in my life. It's not a relaxing experience. You're like, am I wasting my time? You kind of feel weird. Why am I doing this? Like there's many factors going on. You can't relax because it's not really a relaxing behavior that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it creates kind of like competition or just a lot of weirdness. So the lines, and then also I guess filming is the other thing that's probably very dysregulating.
Mm-hmm.
If people film maybe without asking you, or this is something where most people are less comfortable when there's a camera. So this is something as well where your body might just freak out a bit in that moment.
Yes, absolutely. I went to a boot camp last month and they were doing a lot of filming. The teachers were filming parts of the class. And me as an introvert, I was constantly so conscious and so aware of the filming, and it put my nervous system on such a high state of alert. And I felt so uncomfortable the entire time. And I even
Yeah.
talked about it with one of the teachers afterwards, saying how as an introvert that was really uncomfortable for me, and
Totally.
I didn't know that that was going to be happening the entire workshop. Like it was a lot, and just seeing cameras everywhere, it was very nerve-wracking for me.
No, I'm the same. I feel like a completely different version of myself comes out, like, especially on social floor for some reason. I'm like fine and relaxed. And then if there's a camera, I definitely make like 10 mistakes within like the first 10 seconds of there being a camera. It's just so, yeah, discombobulating,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it is, because you feel like this need to perform, and I am not a performer. So to feel that pressure, that expectation, even expectation of yourself, like, okay, I have to look good right now, is just putting way too much pressure on myself.
Yes, and I love that you mentioned the things that are actually coming from yourself, because we all have things inside our own system which would naturally cause us a bit of panic, whatever it is. So for us, maybe it's the camera thing, or yeah, I'm also really introverted. I wish everything was just totally private, which of course it's not, because you're in like a social, like it's not, unfortunately. So yeah, but we all have something. So I feel like it's cool individually to figure out what are your kind of trigger points. When do you get flustered? A lot of people get flustered if they make a mistake, and they get really self-critical, and their system gets on alert. And then usually as energy kind of builds on itself and creates momentum, it'll just keep happening. Usually if you make one mistake, you might make 10. So part of the regulating for yourself can be really cool, because then it's like, okay, it's just one, and then I know how to bring myself back. Or okay, there's a camera and I hate it, but I know how to bring myself back. Or there is 100 people and I wish there were no people, but I can bring myself back. So this is a nice tool that we can learn also.
Yeah, it is very useful for sure, just to self-regulate and bring yourself back. Absolutely. And to like self-center. Yeah. I love the video that you did about the proper way to ask someone how to dance and also lead them on the dance floor. Because I was at a festival this weekend and I have experienced all kinds of different ways of being led out on the dance floor. Of course, the ideal way would be for the man to come up to you, to ask you, and then to take your arm and then to go in front of you and lead the way with you safely following, behind him, and for him to find a suitable place on, the crowded dance floor where there's enough space for you to dance. And that has happened a couple of times. But what also has happened is a man just takes my hand and then proceeds to like kind of make me go forward and have me lead the way. And I'm like,
totally.
I don't know what we should dance like. It all looks crowded to me.
Totally.
Or we're walking in line and he's not taking the lead, but he's not pushing me forward to take the lead. So we're just walking together hand in hand.
Yeah,
this is awkward.
So awkward. Yeah.
And then my least favorite is when they just go off and they expect you to follow them. And I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, this is
like I'm not following you onto like a crowded dance floor where like I already lost you. I don't even see you. Where are you?
Totally. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're bringing back a lot of memories from, this is, and I'm sure it's nothing like intentional. I'm sure, but I wish the leads knew also like how much they're like elevated in their masculinity by this very simple act of asking in the proper way and creating this masculine container and direction and protectiveness in the healthy sense, just in this tiny little moment of asking you to dance, yes, walking in front of you, taking you to the safe place, and then ideally taking you back off and, helping you to get off the dance floor. This is the the most amazing way. And I think it should be the normal way, but it's obviously not the normal way. But it creates so much trust to do it in this way.
Yes, and taking you off the dance floor is, I think, it's like that extra step that just feels so, like you said, it really elevates them in our eyes. Like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for taking care of me. Because just like leaving me in the middle of a very crowded, big dance floor can be pretty discombobulating. I'm like, okay, how do I get out of here now?
Totally.
And sure, I can do it. Yes, I can be a strong, independent woman, and I can navigate my way off the dance floor, but it's not a pleasant experience. And I would have enjoyed it so much more and felt so much safer if you would have taken my hand and like led me through the crowded dance floor and off to the side safely. Because it is like, especially when it's like so crowded, like I just want to feel safe in my body, in my nervous system, like all of me.
Yes. And especially like, for example, if they ask you in the polite way, okay, they take you onto the dance floor, that's already in my mind, I already assume that this is a really good leader. If they already did that, they already shown they're a good leader. I already trust them more. So I will already connect more immediately because I already trust them. So we will probably have a really good dance. So then after, if you have a really good dance with someone, you're like, sometimes you feel kind of high. You're like so chill, so in your body, so zonked out. If in this moment you then just randomly leave your partner in the middle of all these people, it's very jarring. It's very overwhelming. So it's so nice if they have this nice dance and then take you out, and then maybe you just want to like sit down. Maybe you don't want to dance anymore with other people, or so I hope lots of leaders are listening to this.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought up that point because it is so true. After a very melty, yummy, connected dance, you do feel like a little woozy. You're in a dance high and then you open your eyes, and that can be jarring in itself because for however many minutes, the whole world just fell away and disappeared, and it was just you and your partner. And now you're opening your eyes and you're back to reality. You're in the middle of a crowded dance floor. So it's like, okay, but then you're left alone. And you have to like literally fight for survival. And you're like in survival mode, trying to get out.
So true. Yeah, it's such a funny world. And it's I feel like it's one of the last places left where leaders, have the opportunity to create that kind of containment and manners and gentleman behavior. And it's so nice. I don't know if they know that we really appreciate that and we feel so much better, and we'll dance with you more and we connect with you more, and we experience so much of the opposite, not just being asked in a weird way, but like the vibes, as you were saying, and the intention of the leader. If a leader has asked you to dance in this way, it also says something about their intention in the dance. It feels way more clean and like kind of pure versus the ones who ask you in a weird way. What usually happens is a weird dance. They usually have maybe something different in mind, or the energy of the dance is immediately off somehow. So when we do experience the good way, we appreciate it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And then can we also talk about how touch can either regulate or dysregulate us, and different kinds of touch?
That's such a great question. It's also so individual. It depends a lot about you as a being. So let's talk in energy world for a bit. I'm very high openness and less grounded. It's very easy for me to open my field and see things or feel things or whatever, but it's very hard for me to stay on the ground. So for me, touch that is very grounding, which is like actually more pressure, is great for me and my personal system, and this will regulate me. Whereas for another person, that might not be the case. It might be the opposite, that they might be very, very grounded and more dense, and so maybe something that's a lot lighter will actually regulate them. So everybody has their own touch language, let's say, that is like the perfect fit for them, and that's why we have special connections with certain people, because there's some kind of a compatibility going on that we can't really understand sometimes. But there is definitely touch that can regulate you and dysregulate you. And this comes first and foremost, I think, regardless of your touch language, is about intention. We can feel it. We can feel the intention behind your touch. And if it's in any way unkind, we can feel it. If it's in any way like very sexual and that's not at all what we're vibing, we can feel it. If it's very, very unsure, we can feel it. In the same way, if it's very respectful, caretaking, sensual, we can feel all of these things. And even if we're not putting words on it in our head, our body knows we know. So for me, the things that absolutely dysregulate me are when somebody is being too strong in the dance, too forceful. This is also about level. You should never be forceful in the dance, but if you're dancing with someone and you feel like they know how to dance, they can hold their core, they're going to follow you. Any extra touch, any extra weight or force on the body, it's a kind of violent feeling, and it's very, very, very jarring and destabilizing for our body, and it's totally not necessary. You can lead everything with no hands in this dance, so there's no technical reason for that. I do feel like sometimes leaders are a bit like, those like Labrador puppies that don't know how big they are, and they're just kind of like really excited to see you, and they just kind of bowl you over. That's different. Like, we can feel your intention is not to hurt us in any way. But a lot of men in this case, you weigh like double your partner. So sometimes even just to stay standing with someone who weighs so much more than you physically, it's a lot of energy for us. So this is something to think about technicality and lowering the pressure. But yeah, it's so individual, and there's so many factors, I guess.
Yeah, that's very true, because as you were talking about it even varies for me depending on what I want or what I'm craving in that moment. Because when I do feel very high energetically and maybe a little dysregulated, I do want that strong pressure and to be contained physically and held. Mm-hmm. But then at other times, like, I also want freedom and lightness. Mm-hmm. And also, like, if I'm too hot physically, I don't want to be held close. Like, I don't want to be squeezed, because then it's just like that extra heat of the human body. Like, I need to get away from it. Totally. So it can vary and depend on so many factors. And also, when you were talking about that extra unnecessary pressure and force, to me, that made me think of control. So it's like when a lead is trying to control me by enforcing that extra pressure and force instead of just gentle guidance.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's very, very uncomfortable when it feels like, control or I feel, especially the more that you go into the connection with your own body and the more that you are really feeling your body, so you're connected to yourself, you're not disassociating, you know how you feel good in your body, then even like small infringements upon that can feel really intense. But yeah, we can also feel that the intention, if the intention is like to control, or kind of in those moments, I feel like a mannequin, kind of like a doll,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a puppet.
Yeah, like a puppet. That's it. That's the word. Exactly. Which is like not a feeling that I want to have. It's very, very weird to feel like this. Yeah. I think one really cool thing that I always do when I go social dancing, which, to be fair, I don't go social dancing that much because of a variety of these things, but I set an intention before I go of what energy I want to create from my body and also what I want to receive. And I feel like that's so simple. And if everybody did that before they went out, they could do like a check-in, even in the bathroom or whatever, before you go out. If you're checking in with yourself and you realize for whatever reason you're in a crazy dominating mood, or I don't know what's happening, just chill it out by yourself first. And then set the intention of what you want to create. Because, you said like what you're in the mood for. I totally feel that, and I feel it from the leaders so much, like if there's a leader that I know really well and I've danced with him like a bazillion times, I can feel his mood in his leading That's not a bad thing. But leaders, I feel like when they get stressed or they're in their head for whatever reason, like maybe about work or something completely unrelated, a lot of them get really strong in their leading all of a sudden, which is from their system getting dysregulated.
Mhm.
So yeah, just like a simple check-in or something could be nice.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the intentions list because I do that too. So every time I go to an event or anytime I travel somewhere, I create a list of intentions of things that I want to experience and the experiences that I want to have. And definitely every time before I go dancing, I'm like, okay, I want to have really fun, lighthearted dances, or I want to have really connected dances full of physical pleasure and just feeling really good in my body. So, yes, I think everyone should do that because we manifest these things by setting the intention for them.
I love that. Yes, and it creates, I feel like everything, especially in a festival environment, I feel like that's just like anything that's going on in your life, in your body, in your energetic field, and you take it with you and you go to a festival, by the end of the festival, this thing will have multiplied by like 100 because of the environment. It's such a kind of weird environment, actually. It's so intense. You see so many people. You're in kind of a trancey state for like hours and hours. You're connecting with all these different, like, it's a very specific thing. So if you go in there with your intentions of joy and all these things, then undoubtedly that will keep multiplying. And if you go in without setting intentions and you're just like, I'm just here, it could be great or it could be terrible because like what if like what's happening in your field at that time when you enter the festival is like, I don't know, this big need to prove something, for example. Let's say that's like the main thing and you don't check or regulate or connect with yourself in any way, then you go. Inevitably, all your dances and probably all your interactions that you have in the festival will be like a bigger magnified version of this, which is maybe not what you would want, ideally.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like it would be great for leads to be aware of themselves, their energetic state, and the way that they're touching us, the way that they are handling us, for the lack of a better term. Because it does make such a difference when the leads are aware of even their hand placements on your body. For me, I get so triggered if like a guy's hand is anywhere near my breasts. I can't focus on anything else. And this weekend I did notice that some great leads, like if they accidentally, because I'm short, everyone's body parts are in different places because of height or proportions, whatever. So it is easy to accidentally put your hand initially somewhere, but then to immediately become aware of it and to move it, then I appreciate that awareness so much and just the desire to make your partner feel physically comfortable and safe with you means everything.
Yeah, that's so true. And I don't know if leads appreciate to what level women in general, like, yes, we're more sensitive, we're feeling a lot of things, and in general in life, we are more in a state of hypervigilance. It's like how we're built. So we need and we search for safety all the time, constantly, and especially in an environment where we're putting our body in the trust of sometimes a complete stranger. It's big stakes. So like all these things like hand placement, how to ask the lady to dance, consistency is like a huge one, consistency in your technique, your manner, just consistency in your being. Like all of these things make us feel so, yeah, so much more trusting and so much more able to connect with them, which in turn makes them feel more safe because they trust that we are trusting them. And then they reach a new level in their dance, you know? Leaders have like the best time when they feel like you trust them and you're actually following them and they can actually also express themselves and feel safe and good. But we can't get to that place if in the first place we are vigilant and trying to, if we're on high alert, basically. No good dance will ever come from either person being on high alert, basically.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question is how can the follows make the leaders feel safe? And how do we let them know that, hey, I want you to also feel safe and relaxed and to communicate that we trust them. How do we do that?
I love that question. That's so nice. I think for me, followers are the leaders from underneath. So we lead the internal landscape of the dance. So we lead the energetics of the dance because he's actually responding to your energetic field. He's leading from the outside, creating the containment and the structure and the direction, and we're leading from the inside. So that means you have a huge potential to make him feel great or terrible. So if you go into that dance with a terrible attitude and you're super with your nose in the air and you have a block, if you decide, I'm going to block my body, I'm not going to open myself in any way, he's going to feel terrible. So if you want to make him feel safe and you feel safe to do so, it's about, first of all, connecting with your heart space. That's how I feel is the best way to go about it. So just opening your heart space and sending that intention, that unconditional loving intention into the dance. Using your breath, so making sure that you're actually breathing and you're connected to your own body. And if it's hard for you to trust leaders for whatever reason, is even to repeat in your mind or in your body until it feels normal for you, that it's okay to trust. So I know a lot of followers have actually quite a big trouble handing over the control or softening into that. So you can kind of tell yourself a mantra until it becomes natural to you. And it's really, imagine that you're in a conversation and that the first thing you need to do in the conversation is listen. That you're going to speak in the conversation, you're not going to be mute, but your role in the conversation needs to start from listening. Otherwise, you're not going to know what you want to say. So all of these things, these things can really help. And if you freak out, try to freak out towards your partner. So instead of a lot of followers, when they freak out, they pull away, even physically, they push back away in their frame. They try to get away or they like run away from the connection. So if you freak out, try to lean towards your partner and allow him to help you to get out of your freak out so that he can do his job, which is to lead you.
Wow, that is so good. I love the part about freaking out and then instead of pulling away, leaning in, because mirror of life, mirror of relationships, you're in this connection with your partner. And, when you have a conflict with someone, you can either pull away and break the connection, or you can lean in and resolve it together. And I really love that picture of leaning in and trusting him to help you through it.
Yeah, this was one thing when I was learning first Kizomba, so not urban, with more the A-frame, I would always physically break out of the frame when I was making mistakes. And I trained my body and my mind to fall onto my partner. So anytime I wasn't sure what was happening and I was getting confused, I told my body, fall onto your partner. This is the opposite thing that I wanted to do. But it always made everything better because I would kind of relax and then he would keep the flow of the dance going and then I would recover. And like you said, mirror, this is something so difficult for so many women to give that level of trust and vulnerability, especially in a moment when we feel like something's wrong, and to let somebody help us out of it. So yeah.
What are some mantras that you use to help you bring yourself back and center yourself? And what are some regulation techniques that everyone can use to bring themselves back and allow themselves to lean in instead of pulling away?
One of the ones that I love is choose your hand or your foot. So something that like for example, your right hand, that's in connection here usually. And in the moment that you have a freak out, you take all of your intention just into this hand. So as soon as I realize I'm having a freak out or something's happening, I breathe and I only focus on this hand. So I hyper focus and I don't care if I make a couple more mistakes while I'm doing that, but I just bring my attention back, ideally as well, to a part of me that's connected with my partner. So the quicker you train your brain and your body to do that, instead of dispersing your energy, you just bring it back and then you recover. Another one is, the chest, if you're in actual Kizomba, is to actually freak out forwards. do your freak out forwards. Another one that I use in urban is I just tell myself, just follow your line. So this is more like in terms of making mistakes, because that's something that really, for myself, throws me out of regulation. So I just repeat to myself, just go to your line, and I take out any charge. Even if I think the word mistake is entering my mind, I let it be gone immediately. And I'm constantly trying to frame it for myself that there really are no mistakes, and just taking this frame completely out. So this is like a concept that doesn't exist. Even if it tries to come in, I'm like, oh, it doesn't exist, and go to your line. And then another one is just your breath. So I know where I am and I connect with my breath. And you can just say this to yourself as you're freaking out. I know where I am and I connect with my breath. And then from there, you might have like a choice to make if you are dysregulated because there's something actually wrong in the connection, like something invasive is happening, or you might then have the centeredness to be like, okay, thank you, and then leave, or not thank you, just leave, like whatever's happening. Or yeah, you'll be able to like make a decision, which is usually what we can't do when we're freaking out.
Very good. Thank you for those.
No worries.
So it sounds like the dance scene as a whole would benefit so much if all the teachers, all the classes taught that connection and regulation to help dancers, even as they're learning to cope with making those mistakes and to keep their nervous system and energy regulated as they're learning, as they're progressing, so that it becomes a habit and then it becomes a second nature, so that they could all have it as a set of tools when they're on the social dance floor or at an event. And then when two people who are very self-aware come together, that can be such a beautiful thing.
Yes, that would be great. And you just reminded me of something else about the regulation and the safety. I feel, like I said with my first teacher, I was so lucky because she created in her classroom this huge overarching dome of like love and safety. So as students, you felt regulated the whole time, or able to come back to your center because you knew that the person at the center of the class, the teacher, she wasn't going to be the cause of your issue. Whereas a lot of the time, that's not the case. Many teachers create an environment that feels hostile or unsafe or disrespectful, which is really unfortunate in a service-based job. But that's something as well that I think would be awesome if teachers took that on, that kind of responsibility to create a bit of a safety bubble for their students, so that at least they have like a good ground to start from, because it's a very intimate and potentially triggering dance. So it's, yeah, if the ground is already not level, it's going to be hard for you to get anywhere, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like teachers and students are so focused on moves, technique, everything in the physical sense. And it can even go to the somatic sense too. How is this move supposed to feel? And that's all great. But then we tend to forget about the third level, which is the energetic level. And I feel like that energetic level is the foundation of everything else because it supports everything else. And if you're feeling very energetically dysregulated, you're not going to be able to feel the move somatically in your body. You're not going to be able to execute it correctly physically either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And that's why as well, I feel like in the parties or the festivals or whatever, if you think of it like a big dome, like energy dome over the room, it's very chaotic. There's a lot of things going on. So yeah, that's why more than ever, I think at festivals, we need those tools and that consciousness to be able to just like even know what's happening with our own selves, really.
So do you think the organizers are the people who need to be aware of that so that they hire energetic teachers, workers at their event to teach these tools to the attendees? Because I feel like it's such a huge missing part and that it really affects everyone's experience there, even if they don't realize it. And I feel like festivals would benefit from including that part if the organizers became aware of it and started hiring teachers who do that, who teach those skills.
Yeah, that would be super cool. I think it would be cool to see like just in general a cultural shift towards people, whatever their role is, like organizer, teacher, attendee, having some kind of a baseline cultural stuff that we agree on. I mean social culture, as in this is how we ask someone to dance, and that's totally normal. And then anything outside of that, people find that weird. So like culturally, there'll be a bit of pressure for you to not do that. And then so culturally as well, yeah, to just talk more about these things, and they're just normal tools, and more teachers teach them, and organizers are aware. There's so many things that could be done that would just elevate the frequency of the event and the safety, because safety is really the base, I would say, that's kind of missing. So that's safety from lots of different things, like who you hire and codes of conduct or ethics, all these kind of things. And then tools like this, energetic awareness, like that combo would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. Definitely something to strive for in the future, to create that reality.
Yeah, that would be very nice. I would love to go to an event like that.
Oh my gosh. An event like that exists in the US. It's called Interfusion. Everyone should look into it. I've been to it twice. It's in DC in January every year. And it is a very intuitive, very energetically elevated event where they do have a care team and they do have a code of conduct. They have all these things, and they have workshops that talk about regulation and energy. And it's a dance and a spiritual workshop all in one. So it's an incredible festival.
That sounds great. I'm going to look it up after this.
Yeah, I recommend it to everyone. It's so great. And they have 3 days of incredible workshops on everything you can imagine. That's not just dance, but everything. Wow. It's dance related, and it's all like interpersonal relationships related, because dance is an interpersonal relationship. So it just takes it to like such a holistic level that other festivals need to take notice.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, that kind of thing I would love to attend.
Yeah, you would love it. It is definitely up your alley, for sure.
Yeah, so cool.
Okay, well, is there anything that we haven't touched on? Anything that you still wish to share about the topic? Anything that you wish I asked you that I haven't yet?
I don't know. Maybe just to reiterate to the leaders that the very simple, tiny things that you can do with this intention of caretaking and making us feel safe, they are just so impactful, probably like so much more impactful than you might not ever be able to conceptualize it, because we have really different lived experiences. But yeah, if you do have the power to do your dancing behavior and your intention setting, this would actually just create like a huge cultural shift across our scene. And I feel like everybody would benefit. The dancing would be better, the connections would be better. And it is quite simple. I just wanted them to know that we super, super, super appreciate it when it happens.
Yes. Thank you to all the wonderful leaders who already do that. We appreciate you so, so much. And we talk about you and gush about you and are looking forward to our next dance with you always. So
it's true. We tell our friends about you. So
we do. Absolutely. Okay. Well, can you tell us about your poetry book and any of your other projects, and share your socials, and how can people get in touch with you and work with you and get an oracle reading from you?
Thank you. Yes. So you can just find me on Instagram at genevieve.kayra, or I have a website too, genevievekayra.com. So yeah, you can book an oracle reading, which is just like an energetic reading, or a dance coaching, but I do about your energy of your dance. So a frequency reading for your dance. And yes, I just made my first poetry book, which is not dance related, but it's very soft and sweet, I would say. They're a collection of poems from the last 6 years. And the book is called If Stars Could Speak by Venus Eve Carlisle. That's me, but that's my pen name.
Nice. And can you tell us about the Rose workshop real quick? I know you have that as one of your offerings.
Yes, that's my favorite offering I do in the dance space at the moment. So it's just for followers. But we work with everything. We work with feminine energy, embodiment, energetics, and usually a choreography. But we use the choreography to tap into all of these concepts about different ways to express ourselves in the dance as a follower and also solo. And I try to create the workshop differently each time based on the group of followers that I'm going to be seeing. So the last one that I did was really special in Germany, and it was all about water energy and emotion and expressing it, storytelling. But that was because the group who was there was connected to that. So it's quite changeable, but it always comes back to, different elements of the feminine expression in the dance. And I love it. So yeah, it's really fun.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing yourself and your wisdom.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a nice chat. I really appreciate it.
Yes, and everyone listening to this or watching this, please leave a comment, let us know what you think, ask questions, and who knows, maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yay! Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks.
Bye everyone.
Ciao.